Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome to the stage our next speaker. It's Jennifer Takagi. She's going to be speaking about From Stuck to Unstoppable, three ways successful people win at the inner game. Please welcome to the stage Jennifer Takagi.
Give me a yes if you wish that your mind would quit playing tricks on you. And give me a yes if you wish your vision would come into clear focus for you. And give me a yes if you knew how to take the next steps into your highest level of success. Imagine waking up in the morning with complete clarity on what you wanted to do, with a clear vision and a path to actually get there. I believe that our mind is our greatest asset. I believe that we do have the ability to imagine a vision for our life. And I also believe that we can take little baby steps to reach those goals. I'm Jennifer Takagi, and I'm so happy to be here and having Michelle and Kimberly give us the most beautiful view possibly to hone our skills, practice our talks, and step into our own greatness. While we're together, can I give you a little bit of my background and my history and how I got to where I am?
Yes.
I was born on a Monday. My first time in church was the next Sunday. I've always believed, I've always known. Fortunately for me, I was raised in a very liberal church where you're allowed to interpret the Bible and believe as you want to believe. You're not forced into anything, and I feel very fortunate about that. I also don't believe I need to force my beliefs on anybody else. You can come for the ride or not. It's fine. And that has served me really well on working with people with all different backgrounds, all different beliefs. I share that because once upon a time, I was in a business mastermind and they brought in a spiritual healer. Has anybody heard of a spiritual healer? Yeah, quite a few of you. Guess what? I had never heard of a spiritual healer. I didn't know what that was. I didn't know what that meant, but I was hooked. I was all in. She said, "Would you like to work with me and heal past trauma?" And I was like, "I don't know what that means, but yes, yes, I'm all in." I worked with her for a number of months and amazing things happened. Amazing clarity came to me. Things that happened when I was a kid that seemed really minor apparently were impacting how I was showing up in the world. Well, that's not really very good because you don't want the 3-year-old driving a bus. You want the adult driving the bus. Through working with her, I then, actually not through her, but after working with her, I met someone who read Akashic Records. I didn't know what that was, but I was all in. Akashic Records are the messages of your soul. At the end of a reading, the reader said, "I'm doing a course in the spring. Would you like to learn how to read records?" What do you think my answer was?
Yes.
Yes, I'm all in. So I go through this course and imagine my surprise when I get an email at the end of the course, which actually Michelle and Braden were both in with me. And I get an email and it says, "Congratulations, you're a certified soul care coach." Oh my God, I didn't even know I was going to be certified. I just thought it was fun, but I am certified. I'm a certified soul care coach. I was in a paid networking group. They were very lax. You could just post in the Facebook feed, "I'm offering this." People took it or they didn't. So I put in there, "Hi, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Jennifer Takagi. And I just became a certified soul care coach. I can read Akashic Records, and I've opened up 5 spots on my calendar. If you want one, let me know." Let's be real, people. I had way more than 5 spots open on my calendar. But somebody told me, "Don't let them make look like you're hungry and starving and have all the time in the world." So I put, "I have 5 spots." They were taken in an hour. I had never had any offer, paid or free, taken up by anyone. I'm a little nervous. I'm new at this. Those of you who've been doing it a while, you're like, the messages just come. You tell them what you see, what you hear, what you feel. But when you're brand new to it, it's a little scary. I don't know you at all. Is this message true for you? Is it resonating? I'm just, I'm clairaudient, which means I hear things. No, I'm not schizophrenic, but I hear things and I'm just sharing the message. And this woman is very introverted, very quiet, and she's just sitting there like this on Zoom. And I'm thinking, wow, I'm so off base. Like, none of this makes sense. At the end, she says, that was amazing. May I give you a testimonial? Yeah, that's manna from heaven. Manna from heaven. That's Old Testament. Everybody can believe that. It's just history. Just history, people. And I was like, wow. The next 4 people, same thing. May I give you a testimonial? I was on my way. I had decided I was going to step away from leadership development training solely and step into the whole spiritual business, all the things. I told you that I was born on a Monday. My first time in church was the next Sunday. I've had people say, how can you be a Christian and do all this? My religion is how I interact with others in a structured way in looking at God, Jesus, Holy Spirit, and the Bible. My spirituality is my connection with God, Jesus, the Holy Spirit, and all the divine beings. So I'm super fine with doing a both and. I'm not really an either or kind of girl. So as I get on this path, I then learn the emotion code by Dr. Bradley Nelson. That's his work. It's amazing. I had a woman at water aerobics. She had had her hip replaced and she woke up from surgery and she couldn't lift her leg. She couldn't move her foot. And for 2 years, she pretty much was homebound other than physical therapy. And all the doctors said, there's nothing wrong with you. We don't know why you can't walk. We don't know why you can't move. But she went from being a very vibrant woman at 70 to out and about and doing things to not. So she finally got to the point where she could drag the leg enough to get into the pool and come back to play with us at water aerobics. So one day, everybody else left early. And we're the only 2 left in the pool. And I said, Carla, you said that your husband loves to go hiking. And he always takes you on what I would call like black diamond trails. And you don't love that at all. You kind of want to be on the bunny slope. And she goes, that is so true. That's so true. I said, could it be that your hip is not healing because you have trapped emotions around having to go on those really hard trails with him and you don't want to go? Yes, Jennifer, that's true. I do not want to go with him. And I said, well, I learned this new modality where we can identify trapped emotions. And once we clear them, you feel differently. You interact differently. Do you want to do this with me? She said, yes. We met twice a week for probably 12, 14 weeks. And we started with the question every single time, is there a trapped emotion that's keeping you from healing because you don't want to go on hikes with your husband? One week, a very odd, not really odd, but trapped emotions came up at 6 years old. And she said, well, I don't know. Nothing happened at 6 years old. And I said, well, the good news is it doesn't matter. You don't have to remember. And I beg you not to spend one moment trying to figure out what it was, because it doesn't matter. We're just going to clear it and move on down the road. She says, okay. A couple days later, we get on for our next call and she says, I know what happened. I said, great. What happened? She said, my dad got transferred to Hawaii. I was on a ship for 5 days and I was seasick the whole time. So imagine a 6-year-old seasick for a week. That would generate a whole lot of emotions and it would be very easy to trap them. I said, great. So you feel better? And she was like, I feel a lot better. I said, all right. We asked the same question again. Everything that came up, she was 8. And she goes, I know exactly what happened. A little minor thing happened in the neighborhood with the kids. She went in, told her mom. Her mom sent her to her room. Her dad came in later with mom, and they said, never discuss that again. It was a minor kid thing. She carried that with her. She had gone through 30 years of therapy to let that go. A little minor incident when she was 8. So she said, why would this come up now? And I said, well, all I can figure is that you went through the process of forgiving your parents, letting it go, but the emotions were still there. So we cleared the emotions. She felt really great about that. She called me 2 days later in tears and said, I've forgiven my parents. And I said, awesome. And she said, no, you don't understand. I thought I forgave them 30 years ago, but now I know I really have. And I said, it's because the emotion is now separated from the event. A few weeks later, I got certified in the body code, where you identify imbalances in the physical, emotional, and spiritual body and can create alignment so the body can begin to heal. I said, Carla, let's see if we can work on that hip now. So we did. And I am not a medical professional. I don't pretend to be. I have a degree in French and Spanish. No, I can't speak either. But yeah, like I'm not medical at all. But it's a system. It's a very well laid out system. And in this system, it said that the piriformis muscle of the hip was imbalanced. It's a muscle that runs like horizontally. And I'm thinking, how does that affect this? But it does. You can't lift your foot or drive a car. We aligned it. And the next day I called her and I said, Carla, you're going to be able to walk. I just know it. I feel it. I know it. You are. She said, guess what? I said, what? She said, I was able to lift my foot 1 inch today. She had not lifted her foot an inch for 2 years to the day since she had her hip replaced. I can now report that Carla is walking, coming to water aerobics, meeting me for breakfast. She is doing great. That only came about because of the work that I was willing to step into. So if you're willing to learn more about the WIN methodology, wire the brain, imagine your future, and figure out those next baby steps, get my free gift, 12minutegift.com. And that's 12 for 12, 12minutegift.com. I go into a lot more detail. Now, if you want to experience a little bit of this magic yourself, I will be around the ship. I spend a lot of time on the promenade. Yes, alcohol can be included. And we can identify what's holding you back. You also can book a call at yoursuccesscall.com, and we can dive a little deeper in what you think's holding you back from launching your speaking career, from stepping into your greatness. Because I believe we are all destined for more greatness than we ever dreamed possible. I'm Jennifer Takagi, and I look forward to connecting with you soon.
Nice job. Thank you for being here.